at a golf tournament? Is it because it's funny because of the word hole?
You're ruining one of my stand-up jokes, Rachel.
Oh, no. I mean, here's me, total prude, unable to talk about this the next thing. They've sponsored a hole, and I had to keep saying it over and over again. It almost killed me.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny?
I think it is. Now that you've ruined my comedy act, I can say it's basically like, so they brought myself and some of the other stars, they brought their own holes to the hole, so it's like bringing sand to the beach. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Here all week. Try the veal. So you had given him a DVD because Wicked had brought you and other people from the company to this golf tournament. Were there lots of other adult film companies at the tournament?
No. We were the only adult film company, but we were in the gift room and everybody got to sponsor a hole. See, I still can't even say it without laughing. It's kind of genius.
It's
really
inherently funny. It is very good.
It is. And so the DVD was in the gift bags, and they had brought like different DVDs, you know, of the actresses. And that one in particular was a movie called Three Wishes that I wrote, directed, and starred in. And he specifically wanted something that I had directed, which is why in my stupidity I thought maybe he really is serious about having me on, you know, The Apprentice.
Because when you met him at the hole on the golf course, you sort of immediately started talking about the fact that you don't just star in films, you've also directed.
Right. The owner of the company was introducing everybody that was, you know, there. Yeah. This is my contract girl, such and such. This is my contract girl, such as this is our publicist, whatever. This is my contract star and director, Stormy Daniels. And he was like, oh, so you're the smart one, you also direct.
And that's the basis on which you had continuing conversation with him about directing and about your role in the business.
Yes.
And do you mean, is what you're saying about that, when you say, oh, stupid me, I thought that meant, by that do you mean his expression of interest in you as a director and his asking you business-related questions about the industry meant that you thought that you were having a business discussion?
That it was legit. And why it wasn't a red flag to have a meeting. And everyone's like, oh, well, you went to a married guy's hotel room. What were you expecting? Well, first of all, there's two parts to that. One, nobody knew who Melania was back then. I didn't know he was married. I knew that he had famously been divorced from his wife before because everybody saw that scandal. Did anybody in 2006 know the word Melania Trump?
They had been married just the previous year.
But nobody knew. Like, it wasn't a thing. I didn't know.
It was a famous thing, yeah.
I didn't know he was married until he told me. So there's that. Second, it wasn't a hotel room. When people think hotel room, they think of the hotel rooms that 99% of people have only stepped foot in, which is where you walk in and there's a bed and a dresser and it's a hotel room. This was a room that was bigger than my apartment. It had a dining room, a living room, 2 bedrooms. If you had told me that it was a hotel room and you didn't know it was a hotel room, I wouldn't think it was like an apartment. Mm-hmm. Those of us who conduct business at conventions or things like that, don't think twice about going to someone's suite that has a conference table in it and a table. People like to be like, oh, you knew what you were getting into. No, I've also gone to 100 other meetings in rooms exactly like that nothing bad happened.
Mm. Prosecutor says, this is almost the end. When you were leaving and you went to leave, what, if anything, did you do or say?
He said, we have to get together again soon. He went to kiss me goodbye, and I just left as fast as I could. You know, that was it.
Did he say anything to you about talking again?
Yes. He said, we should get together again. We were fantastic together. I want to get you on the show, and that was it. He didn't give me anything. He didn't offer to pay me or anything or a cell phone number, nothing like that.
Did he ask you to keep your encounter with him confidential?
No.
Did he express any concern at that point about his wife finding out?
No.
Did you end up having dinner in his room that night?
No.
You said it was dark out when you left?
Yes.
And do you recall how you got back to your hotel?
It was a cab.
After that night, did you tell anybody else about what happened?
Yes.
Just give us a sense of the people that you told and what you told them.
I told very few people that we had actually had sex because I felt ashamed that I didn't stop it, that I didn't say no. A lot of people would just assume, they would make jokes out of it. I didn't think it was funny. I didn't want to hear about it or assume that I was a paid prostitute, which I wasn't. So I told very few people. I also didn't want it to get back to anybody that I was dating.
So the overall picture in terms of your real life, not just in terms of this case, is that this is a situation where you thought there might be a legit business reason to talk to this man who's more than twice your age, who you had no intention of sleeping with.
Right.
He turned it into a sexual encounter. You did not want it, and you did not feel good about it, and you were embarrassed about it when it was over.
Yeah.
Having to recount this in detail in order to rebut his characterization of you as a liar. Even though you've told this story in a lot of different venues and you've told this under oath, this is the testimony from the trial, it seems like it's still not an easy thing to talk about.
No. Because I have to do it over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and I think about how hard this must be for a rape victim, like for somebody who was like physically assault, like at least they get to just say it once, hopefully in court and to a prosecutor, and they don't get to read about it every day.
Yeah.
Like I just feel so terrible for those people. Now I understand why a lot of people never come forward.
When we come back, Stormy Daniels talks about why it is that this fight, this confrontation she has ended up in with Donald Trump, means that she is not making a living, and why an action by Trump's lawyers right now, this week, she believes has put her in imminent risk of losing her home and of possibly having an arrest warrant issued for her. That's next.
You could be the biggest Trump supporter, a woman voting for Trump, love him. Ask that woman, you gonna vote for Trump? Yeah. Do you love Trump? Yeah. How do you feel about him having your young daughter's legal name, address, and identifying information?
Hey folks, Chris Cunahan here with Leaf Filter, America's largest gutter and gutter protection company. Leaf Filter has over 150 locations and has been installed on over 1 million homes. We've been protecting homes now for over 20 years. Our patented technology offers total protection for your home and comes with a lifetime transferable warranty. The process is simple. Give us a call to schedule your free gutter inspection. If you decide to move forward with the project, you put nothing down at all. 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com today.
The Keepsake Frames app makes it ridiculously easy to frame your favorite photos. Just choose a photo that you love, select the perfect frame, and you'll have your framed print delivered and ready to hang. Download the free Keepsake Frames app and start framing today.
Ooh, fun. Yikes. The leaky refrigerator coil card. Is that bad? Oh, death! Death? Of an AC fan motor. Oh, no. But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered appliances and home systems. Are there bees behind me?
My bees escaped.
Bill, we talked about this. American Home Shield. Don't worry, bee warranty.
Okay, y'all, we got 10 orders coming in.
Starting a business is never easy, but starting at 8 months pregnant, that's a different story. I couldn't slow down. We were starting a business from the ground up. People were showing up left and right, and so did our business needs. The Chase e-card made it easy. When you go for something big like this, your kids see that, and they believe they can do the same.
Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase with the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card from Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours.
When anyone in this house wears white, it doesn't stay white for long. White to soccer?
I'm not gonna slide tackle.
But now with Tide Oxy White, we can clean our white clothes without using bleach. Even works on colors.
I slide tackled.
I see that.
It's got to be Tide.
A lot of non-stick cookware is made the old way. At Caraway, our signature cookware is made with a 100% non-toxic cooking surface. Non-stick cookware without compromise. Caraway.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Melissa, and together we started Fresh Clean Threads.
For most of my life, I've worn a black t-shirt, and most were either too short, too baggy, or weren't consistent.
Using my years of apparel experience, we set out to make the world's best fitting t-shirt.
Since day one, our Fresh Clean tees were made to offer a flattering fit for all body types and not break the bank. Unleash your confidence at freshcleanthreads.com.
Nexium 24-Hour prevents heartburn acid for twice as long as Pepcid. Get all day and all night heartburn acid prevention with just 1 pill a day. Choose acid prevention. Choose Nexium.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that. Shop our lowest prices of the season with free home delivery when you add a base. Sleep Number smart bed starting at $9.99. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20. Go to DealDash.com and see how much you can save.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
I need help with their snoring.
Sleep Number does that.
Thank you.
Shop our lowest prices of the season with free home delivery when you add a base. Sleep Number smart bed starting at $9.99. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Democracy is egalitarian, which means it's for everyone. But it also, I think, is a divinely inspired gift of our forefathers to show us that we can lead ourselves.
Stay up to date on the biggest issues of the day with the MSNBC Daily Newsletter. Get the best of MSNBC all in one place. Sign up for MSNBC Daily at msnbc.com.
When you say you paid to come up here, you paid your own expenses to come testify?
Of course, multiple times. I wasn't like compensated or written a check or anything like that. I got nothing, and this has cost me so much money. I wasn't paid by anybody.
We're back to my interview with Stormy Daniels. I want to let you know that Ms. Daniels was not paid for this interview. We do not do that under any circumstances. We also came to learn over the course of preparing for this interview and reporting out the circumstances under which we were going to be discussing these matters with her. We came to learn that she is in fairly dire financial circumstances because of her confrontation with Trump, as evidenced by the fact that she recently asked a friend, a man named Dwayne Crawford, to open an emergency GoFundMe campaign to try to pay the attorney's fees that she has incurred, and as she tries to hold on to her house. For that part of it, I'm going to let Ms. Daniels here explain. So the case in which you just testified was a criminal case brought by prosecutors. You were subpoenaed to be there just as a witness. The reason that you owe Trump money is a separate matter. Right. Your former lawyer, Michael Avenatti, who is now in prison for defrauding you and other clients, brought a defamation suit against Trump by you. That case was thrown out, and Trump was awarded attorney's fees. Correct. And that totals, to make a long story short, it totals at about $600,000 that you need to pay Trump.
Correct. And I was never allowed to give testimony. They never saw my evidence. It was never ruled whether I was telling the truth or not. So for all those people that are out there saying you lost a defamation case because they found you to be a liar or untruthful, is not true. They never even looked at the case. Other side of that is Miss Carroll, Agent Carroll, was called the exact same things by Donald Trump. And not only did they accept her case and let her take the stand and let her have her day in court, they've given her millions. Right. Meanwhile, my attorney's fees have racked up to over $500,000.
Do you have any means of paying that?
No. And nor do I think I should. It's not fair.
In terms of what happens next, Judge Bershon just lifted the gag order. So he's still prohibited from attacking court staff and prosecutors and their families, but he is now free to attack jurors and witnesses, which means you. Right. When the gag order was in place, did you benefit from that at all? Are you worried about it being lifted?
No. I mean, he's going to say what he's going to say anyway. Yeah. I'm not afraid of what he could say about me or what he could call me. I'm telling the truth. I'm the only one that has continued to tell the truth. I can prove everything that I've ever said. So I'm not concerned about those things he might say. Yeah. I'm concerned of him saying something that will make his followers come after me more.
Has that changed over time, the character of the way people have come after you, the kind of language? How has it changed over time?
The biggest thing is that they're not hiding. They used to all be bots.
Oh.
You know, now they're using their real stuff. There's, Facebook threads from people in my own community planning to do things to my house and my family. The I sent some messages over when Barrett was on another show, and they couldn't even air everything they said, graphic details about how they were going to rape everybody in my family, including my young daughter, before they killed them. Very graphic things talking about a child. But most importantly, like, Trump is trying to make an example out of me, of anybody who dare stand up to him. And I was served again day before yesterday. And they were trying to take my partner's house. It has nothing to do with me. He doesn't even own the house, technically. It's got a mortgage. The bank owns it. I don't own that house. I pay him rent every month because I split some bills with him, but I don't own it. My name's not on the title. I didn't put any money down on this house. They're trying to take his house. They're demanding personal information about my 13-year-old daughter. I refuse to fill out that form. They're
identifying information about her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where she lives, her legal name, her date of birth. Like, why do you need that about a child? So I didn't fill out that part of the form. I left it blank. And they rejected it and sent it back and are demanding that I be held in contempt with sanctions and that I have to pay this money. I have to pay $600,000 plus sanctions and be in contempt of court, which comes with a warrant possibly, because
an arrest warrant.
Because the things I said, which they found him guilty of, I also have to pay, and I'm protecting my child. And you could be the biggest Trump supporter, a woman voting for Trump, love him. Ask that woman, you gonna vote for Trump? Yeah. Do you love Trump? Yeah. How do you feel about him having your young daughter's legal name, address, and identifying information?
Yeah.
And no woman out there, I can imagine, would give that information up. They got my address, and look how quickly that happens. You think I'm going to give up the other address? Because sometimes she's with me, obviously, and sometimes she's with her father. Why would I do that?
But that's essentially, so there's basically two impasses now in terms of that money and that the resolution of that defamation case and you paying the legal fees. One is you don't have the money to pay, but two is they want you as part of that to give over that identifying information about your daughter, and you were refusing.
And even if I had the money, even if I had billions, it's not fair. Why do I have to pay it? And I'm so happy for E. Jean Carroll, but like literally the same three sentences, like liar, whack job, like con job or whatever. She gets over 80 million and it costs me over 600,000. It's going to cost my partner his house. It's going to cost my daughter her privacy for the rest of her life. It's not fair.
I feel like, Stormy, the Trump movement has destroyed or tried to destroy a lot of people for posing a threat to Donald Trump or a challenge to him. And there are, as you've been describing, millions of Americans, if not tens of millions of Americans, who have a rooting interest in all of these various efforts to confront him and expose his behavior and hold him accountable for crimes or treachery or whatever. But the rooting interest doesn't help you, right? No. Well, more than half the country is rooting for him being held accountable. The people who are actually in the middle of these confrontations are being terrorized and menaced and ruined. And overall, this system, I'm sorry to sort of put this to you, but I feel like the system is unsustainable unless the real live human people who are willing to stand up and be counted and speak the truth against him are themselves protected.
Yeah. Because you could be me.
Yes.
We could all be me. Like anybody out there. They're trying to seize property of people that I care about that's not even mine to scare me. They're trying to ruin my daughter's life before she even has a chance to live it. And they're trying to financially ruin me and take money. Because I told the truth. And I shouldn't have to do that. And I've never asked for help before. I've been fighting this by myself. You know, even the people closest to me, my best friends, my, partners, everyone else can take a break. You know, my best friend Dwayne has been my tour manager, my assistant. He's lived it the most with me, but even he gets to take breaks. He gets to get on a plane and go home and take his kids and his family to Disneyland and not think about it. I am the only person that every single day for the last 6 years this has bled into my life. Some days worse than others. Some days I'm picking pellets out of my horse's body and getting served papers and sobbing because they're trying to, you know, that I miss, because I miss my daughter. And she's not safe if she's with me sometimes. And some days it's just things I read on the internet. But every single day, even you, I mean, you live this, you tell the story. Even you, Rachel, like there has to be moments where you've gotten to check out, at least for a minute.
Yeah.
I've never had a day like that in over 6 years.
Your work life has been severely curtailed by this. Changed. You've still got some stuff going. You've been doing comedy events.
I just came back to that last week, but same thing. The owner of the club got death threats.
Really?
I mean, I'm from New Orleans, and it's New Orleans, so she didn't care. But like, how many places are out there that I don't know about that are afraid to book me?
How are you gonna make enough money to live?
I'm not. Like, it's literally like between legal fees and not being able to work, especially because I wasn't working during, remember the trial got pushed.
Yeah.
So I had taken off a bunch of time before, and then it got extended. So there were several months where I didn't do anything. I just stopped doing my podcast because they were freaking out about everything I said. I didn't even get to tell the podcast company why I stopped talking to them, because I didn't want anything I used to be entered in, just create more work for the prosecution, basically. Or I didn't want to be taken off the witness list for all the reasons I told you earlier. You know, there's so many things. People being just afraid to hire me. Luckily, I do have some really great people. You know, I host the TV show on Out TV. And I'm starting to go back and do some stand-up comedy and things like that. But I've lost a lot more than I've made. Mostly my peace, mostly my daughter's privacy and time. Time I'll never get back with her.
Given that, are you worried about Trump potentially being elected to a second term?
Shouldn't we all be worried about that?
Are you worried about it particularly for you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I think that he will try to make even more of an example out of me. You know. And also because his followers will probably be even more bold, thinking if they do something, he'll pardon them.
In terms of his own criminal liability, he's due to be sentenced very soon. You said shortly after the verdict that you thought he should be sentenced to jail and community service, working for the less fortunate, or, quote, being the volunteer punching bag at a women's shelter. You still feel that way? You still think that?
Yeah, I mean, money's no object to him. For somebody else, you know, finding them a bunch of money could definitely teach them a lesson. In his case, his supporters just go throw it at him. And we're talking about a man who got convicted of 34, you know, and they, in one night, how much was it? Like $100 million or something was given to him when he was found guilty. I wish I could be found guilty. You know, like fighting him is not going to do any good.
Yeah.
I think, you know, taking away his control which is freedom, by a jail sentence, if that's what fits it, would teach him the most, because he's so used to being in control.
Yeah.
It's not about locking him out and taking away his freedom, it's about taking away his control. Would be more helpful in this case, I think. And making him do some community service, especially with those people that he looks down upon so much.
On the issue that was just mentioned there of a potential arrest warrant for Ms. Daniels and the contempt of court review that's being sought by Trump's lawyers, we have confirmed that there is an August 7th court hearing on these matters. As you heard from her a few moments ago, Ms. Daniels says she is not able to pay the $600,000 that she has been ordered to pay. She is concerned about providing documents in the case that require her to reveal personal information about her daughter. Her lawyers have asked for a confidentiality agreement before she hands over that information. Trump's lawyer told the judge that Ms. Daniels should have to hand over the information now, and then afterwards she can ask the court for a confidentiality agreement. The court actually sided with Trump and his lawyers on that. On her GoFundMe page tonight, Ms. Daniels just posted this, quote, "This information is not only a violation of a child's privacy, but has the potential of very real and immediate danger. In response to her own doxing and fearing for her daughter's safety, Stormy declined to provide those details unless a confidentiality agreement was granted. No mother should be forced to choose between protecting her innocent child and contempt." We have reached out to the counsel that's representing Mr. Trump in this matter. We've reached out to him for comments. We have not heard back. We will let you know what we do hear if we do hear from him. But we'll be back with the conclusion of my exclusive interview with Stormy Daniels right after this. But you're worried that you would have
gone Stormy.
Oh, crap.
Now we gotta get France something.
Wait, we could use Etsy's gift mode.
All right, done.
Plateau de fromage! Ooh la la! Don't panic. Get easy with gift mode. Now on Etsy.
Meet Omnilux Contour, an LED light therapy mask clinically proven to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. Find out how you can improve your skin at omniluxled.com.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad. Hey, watch it. It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
Compared with other chews, one Brevecto chew protects from fleas and ticks for 12 weeks. Nearly 3 times longer.
Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurological disorders.
Protection that lasts longer? Bravo, Brevecto. Bravo.
You might be used to living with your albuterol asthma rescue inhaler, but it's a bit of a dinosaur because it only treats your symptoms, not inflammation. Treating both symptoms and inflammation with rescue is supported by asthma experts. Finally, there's a modern way to treat symptoms and asthma attacks. Air Supra is the first ever dual-action rescue inhaler that treats your asthma symptoms and helps prevent attacks. Air Supra is the only rescue FDA approved to do both. Air Supra is an as-needed rescue inhaler and should not be used as a maintenance treatment for asthma. Get medical help right away if your breathing does not improve, continues to worsen, or for serious allergic reactions. Using Air Supra more than prescribed could be life-threatening. Serious side effects include heart problems, increased risk of thrush, or infections. Welcome to the modern age of dual-action asthma rescue. Ask your doctor if Air Supra is right for you.
Quince. Everyday luxury, clothing, home goods, and jewelry at fair prices. Because quality should never be a luxury. Quince. Get $20 off your first purchase at quince.com.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
Dangerous ladders, gutter muck? Ugh, no wonder you hate cleaning your gutters. Good thing there's Leaf Filter. Our patented filter technology keeps leaves and debris out of your gutters forever. Guaranteed. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER to get started and get the permanent gutter solution that ends clogs for good.
They took the time to answer all of our questions. They really put us at ease.
End clogged gutters for good. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com today.
Meet Caraway, beautiful cookware designed for the modern home cook. Caraway's non-toxic ceramic cooking surface is free from harmful chemicals, and it's naturally non-stick. Home cooking without the chemicals. Caraway.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan Falcon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
It's lunchtime, and Gary is double booked. Good thing Gary's company uses Otter's AI meeting assistant to take notes and generate a summary. So Gary doesn't miss a meeting and can regain his lunch break. Try now for free. Visit otter.ai or download the app.
One of my favorite supplements is Cunol Turmeric. Turmeric helps with healthy joints and inflammation support, and Cunol has the #1 doctor-recommended form of turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that. Shop the lowest prices of the season with free home delivery when you add a base. Sleep Number smart bed starting at $9.99. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
So in the middle of your testimony, but with you not in the room because there was a recess, the judge calls the lawyers up. And Judge Merchan says to Todd Blanche, Trump's defense lawyer, I understand that your client is upset at this point, but he is cursing audibly and he is shaking his head visually, and that's contemptuous. It has the potential to intimidate the witness, which is you, and the jury can see that. Mr. Blanche, I will talk to him. The judge. So I'm speaking to you here at the bench because I don't want to embarrass him. Mr. Blanche, I will talk to him. The judge, you need to speak to him. I will not tolerate that. Mr. Blanche, I will talk to him. The judge, one time I noticed when Ms. Daniels was testifying about rolling up the magazine and presumably smacking your client, and after that point, he shook his head and he looked down, and later I think he was looking at you, Mr. Blanche. Later, when we were talking about The Apprentice, at that point, he again uttered a vulgarity and looked at you this time. Please talk to him at the break. Todd Blanche, yes, I will. So that's about your testimony. It's about something that happened in the middle of your testimony, but you weren't there for that exchange. What the judge is describing there, did you see that? Did you notice it in the courtroom?
I tried not to look at him because I just wanted to stay on point.
Yeah.
Not because I was afraid. One, I was, and I shouldn't have admit this. I also, if I had noticed that if I had seen or heard him be saying like she's lying, I don't know if I could have controlled myself.
What would you have done?
Who knows? I don't know if I shouldn't have had to be there. No person should have had to be there. And to have him in open court when we're trying to follow the rules and be respectful, he was still disrespecting me and still calling me a liar. I might have snapped and said something back, and that's what he wanted.
So you wouldn't have been intimidated, but but you're worried that you would have
gone stormy. Because I am not the same naive young girl that was in that room.
What could the justice system and what could the people of this country have done better for you? What could have been done differently to give you more support so that this would not have caused the kind of ruination in your life that it has caused?
I should have been allowed to present my case like E. Jean Carroll was, my defamation case, because I would not be facing a $600,000 judgment right now because I would have won. I absolutely would have won. And I don't want millions. I don't need that. I need to not owe him, and I need to be able to have peace and be able to work. And now that they have doxed me because of this situation, I need a safe place for my family and my animals. And I don't know if I will ever have that because it just keeps happening.
Well, what you have experienced is something that is absolutely individual to you, but it is also part of a pattern of people who confront Trump or tell the truth about things about Trump that hurt him because they don't reflect on him well. People get destroyed. And there's something wrong with us as a country for not being able to protect you from that when you've done nothing wrong. And so I cannot apologize on behalf of the country. It's not my job.
No.
But I want you and your family's life to be better than it is. And I want you to have more protection than you have, and I hope you can get it.
Thank you. And I am prepared. This is my hill to die on, and I will probably potentially lose everything and maybe even be arrested because I'm not giving up my daughter's personal information. And if that means I am in contempt of court, I have done everything. I have shown up in court. I have told the truth. I have flown up here. I've met with prosecutors. I have honored the subpoena. I've done everything they have asked me to do, and they have not protected me. And this is the one thing. This is my line in the sand. This is my little girl.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Stormy. They have not protected me. And this is the one thing. This is my line in the sand. This is my little girl. You know, this interview surprised me in so many ways, but where I landed on with this, in these conversations with Ms. Daniels, is at this very simple place, which is that no one is superhuman, right? Our real-life villains are not superhuman. We sometimes make them out to be. They're not. They're human beings with all the human frailties and human decency that every human being is born with. But our real life heroes aren't superhuman either. And, you know, Stormy Daniels is certainly, she is a symbol. She is a brand name. She's an indelible and consequential proper noun in American history, right? She's someone who will always be part of this crucible, this sort of trial by fire of the American principle that every American is subject to the rule of law. She is also a mom, right? She's also just a woman. And she has had 6 years of death threats and doxing, and she is facing losing her house and is facing potential arrest on contempt charges for not, after all of that, for not handing over personal identifying information about her 13-year-old daughter. We checked that assertion from Ms. Daniels as well. Looking at the court documents related to this case, she is facing contempt of court, the possible ruling that she's in contempt of court, which comes with it a possible arrest warrant. And she is facing it because she is not filling out a document that is demanding that she hand over identifying information about her daughter, including where her daughter can be found. Her daughter is 13. She says she won't do it. And so what will happen to her? And who's protecting her? She's not part of any institution that has any sort of institutional defense. She's just a citizen. And no one is superhuman, but you should not need to be superhuman in this country to tell the truth about a powerful person. I got more ahead. Stay with us.
Whoa, how'd you get your teeth so white?
You gotta use the right toothpaste.
Dr. C?
Not all toothpaste whiten the same.
Crest 3D White removes 100% more stains for a noticeably whiter smile.
New personal best.
Crest.
Hi, I'm Laura Geller, and I'd like to show you how to use my favorite foundation, Bake, Balance, and Brighten, for mature skin. You just take strokes until you feel comfortable with what it looks like on your skin. I get this beautiful natural coverage. It's really that simple. And don't worry about matching your shade. Our foundation will adapt to your skin tone so you can get the perfect match the first time. Learn more about Balance and Brighten at laurageller.com.
This is the one. She fixes, she manages, she perfects. Because maintaining this space transports her to this space. The industrial grade product you need. Call, click, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Eileen. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I write mystery novels. As I was writing, I found that I just wasn't sharp, and that doesn't work when you're writing a mystery. And I knew I needed to do something. So I started taking Prevagen. I realized that I was much more clear, much sharper. I was remembering the details that I was supposed to. Prevagen keeps my brain working right.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Connect with a provider today at ro.co/20.
The dentist will be right in.
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Yeah, Doc, but there's so much to consider. Medicare, finances. Oh, and I lose my dental insurance.
You can get your own from Physicians Mutual. Easiest decision ever. It's real dental insurance that's real affordable. Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. One of the easiest retirement decisions you can make. For a free information kit, call now. This dental insurance helps cover over 400 procedures. Everything from cleanings and fillings to crowns and dentures. See any dentist you want with no deductibles and no annual maximum.
Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
To get your free information kit with all the details, call now or visit sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
They say we should stop eating so much meat. So we made meat out of plants. Because we aren't quitters. Impossible. We're solving the meat problem with more meat.
Introducing new Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical pain reliever with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact to target tough pain at the source for up to 8 hours of powerful relief. New Advil Targeted Relief.
Say hello to the new athleisure. Sleek design, cloud-level comfort, with athletic technology and Italian leather. They're game for anything. Are you? Free shipping, free returns, 365-day guarantee. Get comfortable at wolfendshepherd.com.
This is a keepsake frame. This is actually a photo from my wedding. I'm Adam Weiss, founder and CEO of Keepsake, the mobile app that makes it easy to have your photos printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love, you can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're gonna receive your photo in a beautiful, handmade frame. So if you've got a special photo on your phone, install the free Keepsake app. We would love a chance to frame it for you.
Febreze. Have you tried these new Febreze car vent clips? The new intensity dial gives you total control. I can turn it up. That smells good. Or turn it down. Nice and light. Enjoy 40 days of freshness your way.
What I'm saying is that her story is messy. It makes some people uncomfortable to hear. It probably made some of you, meaning the jury, uncomfortable to hear. But that's kind of the point. That's the display the defendant didn't want the American voter to see. In the simplest terms, Stormy Daniels is the motive. That is why your testimony was not just an amazing display, but also American history, the way that fits into this. Do you agree with the way they characterized you in this case?
The prosecution?
Yeah, the way that the way that he's saying your testimony functioned and why it was relevant to this crime.
Yes, absolutely.
Stormy Daniels is the motive, why the crimes were committed. As the prosecution said, her story is, in many instances, uncomfortable to hear. She describes it as uncomfortable to recount. But it is now indelibly etched into our American history. It is central to the first ever criminal conviction of an American president. Its details, the details recounted in court and the further details recounted here in this interview tonight, they themselves are a somewhat searing insight into the personal behavior of an American president. But also, she's an indelible part of American history here because the targeting of her as a result of her testimony, her confrontation with him, the targeting of her, what has happened to her life because she is viewed by President Trump as one of his enemies because of this testimony, the story of what has happened to her because she has told the truth in this case, because she has testified in this case, is a harrowing story of the kind of menace, the kind of physical menace that the Trump movement uses against their perceived enemies. And that is one thing when it is directed at people who are in relatively safe positions of power with resources and with structures around them that can protect them from the worst. It's something else when it's just an atomized human out there in the world trying to cope alone. And the targeting of the people who are hurt by and menaced the most by the Trump movement is something we have not yet figured out how to defend against as a country. And it is not going to get better on its own. Joining us now is Michael Beschloss, NBC News presidential historian. Mr. Beschloss, Michael, it is really nice of you to be with us here tonight. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you. Thank you. What a poignant interview.
Well, let me just ask your reaction to this interview. This is the first U.S. interview that she's done after the trial. We thought the trial was done. Maybe it isn't now. But let me just, as a historian looking at this, what you think of it.
Well, she's a brave woman, and I don't want to tie her immediately to early American history, but I almost can't help but do it because the founders and the early Americans, we fought for our independence from England so that we'd have a system that was unlike England. No one could ever stand up to the king. You couldn't criticize the king without destroying your life. The whole idea of America was that this would be a society where we would benefit from everyone's criticism. So that the founders said the humblest person could stand up to a president of the United States or criticize him, say that he had done things wrong. He might not like it, but that person would not have their lives destroyed. And that's what's happened to Stormy Daniels. And obviously, something has fallen short, and it may be even worse now, given the ruling by the Supreme Court yesterday that's going to make the power imbalance between American presidents and our most modest citizens. That power imbalance is now probably tripled in the last 2 days.
I've been thinking about a lot about that ruling in light of this interview. It seems to me, and you study these things in much more depth than I do. But I have always felt like the sort of I have always felt that sort of genius of the basic idea of the United States and our constitutional republic is that we recognize the rights of man, the naturally given rights of man. And we have set up a government that is to protect our rights, from each other, and particularly from a ruler, from a government that would infringe on our rights. And this Supreme Court ruling is about taking away our protections, taking away our rights to protect ourselves against a ruler who has just had his rights expanded so that he can do stuff to us with impunity, and we can no longer defend ourselves against it. And I think of it in terms of the Congress, and I think of it in terms of the judiciary, and I think of it in terms of all the institutions of our civic life. But I think about it, when I think about it as individual atomized humans, just flesh and blood people who don't have institutions around them, it feels like a complete inversion of the overall idea of American rights and the American ideal.
Yes, the Supreme Court is taking us backwards in that respect. You and I have talked a lot about Watergate. And one good result of the Watergate scandal and Nixon's departure and the reform laws that were passed by Congress later on, the idea was that we would never again have a situation that applied to too many presidents between 1930 and 1974, where they abused the IRS. They abused the FBI. They used the power of government to go after columnists that criticized them or people who got in their way. They would have, bank executives in the hometown of the person who had done this go after the person and take their mortgage away. It's what Stormy Daniels was reminding me of when she was telling about how much she has gone through. The point is that we should have a judicial system, a Supreme Court that protects the weak, not the strong. Instead, in the last 48 hours, the Supreme Court, through its non-wisdom, in my view, has decided to give even more power to the strongest person in the society, President of the United States, and also other strong people around that person. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not progress.
Yeah, and it is something that we need to compensate for as a country. If the courts are not going to do it, then we have to find other ways as a civic entity to protect the people among us who are in the most danger.
Because our government will trample on our liberties and do corrupt things, and no one will be able to stand up to it.
Yeah. Michael Beschloss, NBC News presidential historian, thank you for this perspective. Thank you for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to have you here, Michael.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you, Rachel.
After the Supreme Court's ruling on that immunity case this week, Trump and his counsel did move quickly to try to get his 34 felony convictions in New York thrown out. Trump was set to be sentenced for those convictions next week, but today the judge in the New York case announced that he'll delay sentencing until September. And I want to show you the letter that Judge Merchan wrote to the attorneys in this case announcing it. He said, quote, "The matter is adjourned to September 18th, 2024 at 10 a.m. for the imposition of sentence, quote, if such is still necessary." When he says, if such is still necessary, what he means is if the Supreme Court decision doesn't effectively wipe out that jury's unanimous guilty verdict against Trump on 34 felony counts. It's an open question. Joining us now is Catherine Christian, former assistant district attorney in the Manhattan DA's office. Ms. Christian, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Glad to be here.
So let me first ask you, This interview with Stormy Daniels tonight, we set this interview in motion when we believed that Trump's New York trial in which she testified was over. Now, clearly, it's not, with the sentencing delay, with the judge entertaining a new motion to throw out the case, given what happened at the Supreme Court. I just have to ask you, is there anything about this interview, about Ms. Daniels talking publicly about her testimony, which could still have any bearing on the trial and the way it resolves?
No, I don't think so. So the proceedings aren't over because he hasn't been sentencing, but the trial is over. Her testimony is complete. She's a free agent. So there's nothing that she said. Basically, it tracked the transcript. She added additional detail, but nothing that really will harm the case.
If Judge Merchan does entertain this, he is going to entertain this motion from the defense to set aside the verdict, would the New York District Attorney's Office then have the option of retrying the case and using a different selection of evidence to try to prove the same criminal charges, but without reference to official acts by Trump?
Well, assuming that Judge Merchan grants the motion to set aside the verdict, which he probably shouldn't, because I don't believe these are official acts, the tweets, the Hope Hicks testimony. But assuming he did, then the case would have to be retried, and then the DA's office would obviously exclude those tweets, the Hope Hicks testimony, if the judge would decide those are official acts, which I don't think he will. But if he did, they would have to retry it without that. The reality is, if you exclude that testimony, there is a mountain of evidence that points to guilt. So you wouldn't need that evidence. And that would be the argument, quite frankly, the DA is going to make in their response to this motion to set aside the verdict, that there was nothing prejudicial with those if they were deemed official acts, which they're not, but if they were deemed official acts, if you took them out, there's still a mountain of evidence.
And so the way that would work, and forgive my ignorance on this, not a lawyer, but if some of the evidence was determined or it was argued that some of that evidence was relevant to his official acts as president, you couldn't
lost over 46 pounds.
Wegovy. And I'm keeping the weight off.
Wegovy helps you lose weight and keep it off. I'm reducing my risk. Wegovy is the only FDA-approved weight management medicine that's proven to reduce risk of major cardiovascular events in adults with known heart disease and with either obesity or overweight.
Wegovy shouldn't be used with semaglutide or GLP-1 medicines. Don't take Wegovy if you or your family had medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if allergic to it. Stop Wegovy and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. Wegovy may cause low blood sugar in people with diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat diabetes. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes, or if you feel your heart racing while at rest. Depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Call your provider right away if you have any mental changes. Common side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
With Wegovy,
I'm losing weight.
I'm keeping it off.
And I'm lowering my CV risk.
That's the power of Wegovy.
Check your cost and coverage before talking to your healthcare professional about Wegovy.
For gentle, dependable constipation relief, try Senecot. It works differently than other laxatives because it's made from the senna plant, a natural vegetable laxative ingredient. Gentle, dependable Senecot.
Also available in delicious gummies.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly.
Chief.
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I was always skeptical of credit cards, but I also know it's the best way to build your credit. As an entrepreneur, that's essential. So I got the Chime Credit Builder card. There's no annual fee, no interest, and no credit check. My score's gone up over 100 points. Check it out at chime.com.
For the most comfortable, luxurious, eco-friendly, and affordable, handcrafted American-made mattresses on the market today. Delivered and set up in any room of your house. Saatva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
HomeAglow just cleaned my entire house for $19. Seriously, $19. They showed up right on time and did my dishes, my laundry, they even cleaned my windows. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19. I love using HomeAglow, and I think you will too.
I can feel the winds of change.
One of the things I like about what I get to do is that each day is pretty unique. I might wake up and find out there's a brand new poll out, and I want to dive into it and get something on air about that poll. Or I might find out that there's not a lot of new numbers in the world today, and so today's going to be a day I'm going to spend researching, learning about a state, about the different counties, about the voter history, about the demographic trends, and just committing that all to memory. The only way to really be prepared is to get it all in my brain ahead of time.
All right, that's going to do it for me tonight for this special edition of The Rachel Maddow Show. I appreciate you having me here on a night I'm not usually here. I was really glad to have you with us. But now it is time for what you're waiting for. Now it is time for the 11th hour with Stephanie Ruhle.
Tonight, more fallout from the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity, how it's already affecting another Trump criminal case. Then more pressure on President Biden as the first Democrat in Congress says he needs to drop out. What President Biden just said tonight about his performance. Plus, Stormy Daniels gives her first U.S. interview since Trump's hush money verdict as the 11th hour gets underway on this Tuesday night. Good evening once again. I'm Stephanie Ruhle, and we are now 126 days away from the election. And tonight, we are already seeing the consequences of the Supreme Court's landmark ruling on presidential immunity. Donald Trump's sentencing for his criminal convictions in the New York case has now been officially delayed. I know you know this. It was supposed to be next week, just a few days before the Republican National Convention, where Trump will be officially nominated. Now the earliest it could happen is September 18th, which, of course, is less than 2 months before Election Day. Trump's lawyers asked Judge Juan Merchan for the delay so they could review how the Supreme Court decision affects this particular case. They want the judge to set the conviction aside. Here's what's interesting. Prosecutors didn't oppose the delay, but they said Trump's argument is not going to hold up. Judge Merchan signed off on the delay and said he'd issue a ruling on the question of immunity on September 6th. It is unclear exactly how the Supreme Court decision could affect this particular case, and many experts say that is precisely the problem. The justices implemented a new sliding scale of immunity that must be decided on a point-by-point basis where each individual decision can be argued over and appealed. And that likely means plenty more delays. With that, let's get smarter with the help of our